All right, so first of all, let's talk about your love life. And I remember last week I mentioned that you've got like one of the best readings for the entire 12 zodiac signs. So this week I feel like the energy is still really good. It's a very emotionally fulfilling type of a love spread reading. Other areas of your life, however, we are going to take a look at that, okay? And in particular, finances. But let's focus on the love situation right here. This is a very emotionally heavy type of a week if you let the energy get to you. If not, it can be full of, butterflies and lightheartedness and playfulness and a coming together between you and another person where you kind of let your guard down and you go with the flow and you transmute the fire energy that you're used to, and you can connect with somebody on a deeper emotional level. So the energy is highly supportive for one-on-one conversations. Rather than group outings, try to minimize and make your social interactions a little bit smaller so that you can get to know another person. Okay, so I have a lot of casual dating here for those of you who are single. The Three of Cups is, going out, grabbing a drink, having dinner, going on dates, meeting with somebody that you are really connected to, that you really, really have strong emotions for. And likewise, they have a lot of strong emotions for you. I see a shyness that I don't normally see with Sagittarius. I see a lot of trepidation, like, what do I wear? How should I style my hair? Should I use this perfume or this cologne? I see as well you trying on many, many different outfits and trying to figure out the right one, like going through your wardrobe, trying to accessorize, trying to match your hat with your shoes, trying to match your tie with your shirt. Like I see a lot of this, first date jitters. First date, like fumbling, trying to kiss the other person, and then trying to do things the right way. So it's a really playful, sweet, innocent type of energy, and it indicates to me a lot of first dates where, you're bringing over flowers or they're bringing you over flowers, and there's that awkwardness about should we, should I just end the night with sending them home, or do I let them come in and do we hang out a little bit more? So it's all like very, very first date, second date, third date types of energy. So I feel like a lot of you are dating. A lot of you might be dating a few people, a few options, and trying to find the best, most compatible option for you, which is fine. And I also feel like there are a lot of taboo topics that you and your partner are both keeping mum about. Sort of like when it's too early, you don't want to reveal your expectations. So, for example, you might want to get married, you might want to have children, you might want to have like 10 kids. You're not going to tell people that on your first date. You might, but I feel like it would be a little bit smarter. It's a better strategy to just enjoy the moment and don't project so far into the future, and just enjoy the flirtation, enjoy the chemistry without putting that extra pressure on the other person. They likewise might be also keeping hush about how they feel about you because they don't want to scare you off. So I see this tremendous sweet energy where you're kind of like fantasizing about each other with this Seven of Cups. Daydream, fantasies, creating that, wondering what the other person looks like, wondering what the other person is doing. And the energy is really, it's reciprocal. They're wondering what you're up to. They're wondering what you're wearing. They're wondering what you look like. So you might be meeting each other for the first time. You might be fixed up on a blind date, or you might have had internet communication, but this is the week where you kind of solidify a meeting time and place and allowing the relationship to flourish. So that's for those of you who are singles. For others of you, in committed relationship, okay, and in particular, if you have a water sign, I'm getting a lot of water in this spread. So if you're dealing with a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. If this is somebody that is that you're in a relationship with, or I feel like relationship partners. If you're wondering, are they seeing other people? If you're, checking up on them, wondering where they've been, and wondering if they're like sending inappropriate pictures or text messages or things like that, you don't need to wonder anymore. We have the Three of Cups coming into the Two of Cups. Okay, so start out with three and we end with two, which means they're committed to you. So if you're a little bit paranoid, if you're like digging through their phones or vice versa, if they're doing that, there isn't anything surprising coming out of the woodwork. I feel like they're faithful and they're committed. And likewise, if they're wondering that about you, you're faithful and committed. So I do see this solidification of a relationship. So this week is just really good for you to kind of figure out as well that, wow, the other person is on the same page as me. I don't have to question things anymore. For those who are single and you have your eyes on a specific person, in particular a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, or somebody that you've been, heavily, heavily thinking about, and there is a really strong soulmate and a very strong spiritual connection between you and them. It's almost like when they think about you, you think about them. You open the door and they open the door, You walk down the hallway, you run into them. You walk to the grocery store, you run into them. Or when you think about them, they text you. When they think about you, you text them. So a very, very strong kindred soulmate connection between you and another person. And you're not revealing to them how you feel. They feel that you are somebody quite special. You feel the same way, but there's a energy here about keeping everything very hush hush, because I'm getting it. It might not be appropriate. Maybe because they're in a relationship and you don't want to interfere, or you're in a relationship already and they don't want to interfere. So there's a lot of mutual consideration for one another. It's like, yes, the connection is really, really strong. And it's not just, sexual and physical, it's very spiritual. And because it's so spiritual, you guys are trying to give each other the courtesy to go through your respective relationships before the two of you come together. So I feel like there's communication, but it's like you're holding back because you want them to finish up their karma. So I'm feeling here that, this is, it takes a really righteous, moral, and wise and insightful person to be able to come to that conclusion that, yes, I want this connection, but it seems like they're not ready just yet, or they have to take care of things from their end before we can come together. And I feel like this is what you are allowing for the other person. And if the shoe were on the other foot, they're allowing you the same courtesy. But I feel like Sagittarius, you might be the one that's single and the other person might be the one in the other relationship. Okay. But very beautiful energy. And it's definitely a continuation of last week. There's a lot of clarity, a lot of clearing the air, a lot of holding back on how we feel, because knowing that, yes, the emotions are there, it runs very deep, and the connection is definitely there. But are they ready to tap into it? Are they ready to step into this with me? I need some concrete signs that they're ready. And I feel like this is the week where you are going to get that affirmation. Okay. Finances not looking too great, Sagittarius. So if you've been, out dancing all night, out drinking, out socializing, going to all these events and functions, things do tend to rack up. The bills rack up. Things get expensive. So you want to be very careful about the where you are spending your money and whether or not there can be ways to curb your spending. The Five of Pentacles, feeling left out, feeling almost like financially that you're in the red. It's alleviating somewhat by the end of this week because we're going towards a Four of Pentacles. But I feel like a lot of it is just kind of like reckless or careless spending. expenditures when it comes to the household, and then not having a firm grasp on how much money we're really making versus how much money we're really spending. So if you can, kind of tighten the purse strings a little bit, it's going to be in your best interest. This is your energy here. You don't care, okay? Page of Wands. This is a very young energy where it's like, oh, I don't have to worry. Like some of you could very well like not care about finances. It's not your forte, or it's not something that you want to sit down and really look at. So it's sort of like, oh, there's always tomorrow, procrastinate. There's always tomorrow. There's always another time. Or, next week I'm going to get my paycheck and then I'll pay for it then. So this is a little bit too reckless, and I feel like it's too careless, okay? So you want to be really just practical when it comes to your spending. Many of you might have been, eyeing something quite expensive that's a little bit outside of your price range, and you're paying a lump sum into it, even though it's outside of your price range. And then for the rest of, the month, you're going to have to skimp, mainly because you need to replenish that amount of money that you spent. So I do see big ticket item purchases that might have put a little bit of a dent in your bank account. And if you're aware of that, that's fine. But I definitely feel here money being squandered kind of carelessly. So please take care of that, okay? On the other hand, I do see a little bit of conflict coming through with family members. So Four of Pentacles, dealing with somebody who's a little bit controlling, or dealing with somebody who does not want to listen. My way or the highway. This is somebody who's very, very stubborn. They're very fixed with their opinions and their ideas and what they like and what they dislike, and their course of action. So you might be dealing with one of those fixed signs: Scorpio, Leos, Aquarius, Taurus. So you're dealing with somebody who's just like, nope, my way or the highway. And if you're trying to tell them what to do, this is ego conflict, major, major ego battles. You know how it's not so much what is said, but more like the tone. And then it's not so much what's said between two people, but more like the history of contention between two people that kind of override everything. So if they see you as somebody who's controlling and you see them as somebody who's stubborn, it already creates that pattern of conflict. So no matter if you approach them anew with different intentions, it's already left a bitter taste in their mouth. So they're going to clam up and they're not going to be receptive to the message. If this is somebody that you're dealing with in the family environment, you might feel very ostracized or cast out, or that you cannot get through to them. Okay, each person needs to kind of live out their karma and needs to deal with things their own way. So I feel like you kind of need to leave this alone, because it's creating more conflict when it's creating more conflict and it's unnecessary. So it's not going to alleviate. Okay, it's like the same pattern of interaction happening over and over and over again, and you can't really get past it. I definitely feel like if it's family, there's still a lot of love. So the love is there. But, if it's your children, they're going to be as independent as you are, Sagittarius. They're not going to listen. And if you're dealing with like children, egos, conflict between, parents and children, or that generational rift, or even the cultural rift, because many of you tend to marry, you're naturally very attracted to foreigners. So you might have, be an interracial couple. Your kids might be a transplant in a new culture, in a new land, in a new environment. And so there's just this generational but also cultural rift between you and your kids, or you and your parents. And it's creating a lot of disharmony in the things that you value, in the ways in which you're raised. And then it just creates like a situation where you're not able to understand where they're coming from, and they're not able to understand where you're coming from. So let all of that baggage go. It's creating a lot of disharmony, and I feel like there's still a lot of love there, okay? take care of your financial situation, get yourself back on track, okay? If they're giving you advice as to how you should spend your money, etc., etc., I feel like there might be some wisdom and some validity to it. You might be too stubborn and you don't want to listen, but there's some truth to that, okay? I'm going to leave it at that, Sagittarius. I wish you all the best, okay? Just straighten this part out. This looks really good, but finances needs to be re-examined, okay? Take care of yourself, and I wish you the very best, okay? Bye-bye.